spend a moment on the Illuminati, if we can just have a view of what history actually tells us about the Illuminati. They were created in 1776. So if we were to see the Catholic Church in the Dark Ages, 1773, what happens? They abolish the Jesuits. They're going to fall as a church. They've abolished the Jesuits because they've lost a great deal of political power. And this is all happening under there's a word for it. The Enlightenment. So if you were to think about what we refer to as the Enlightenment, why do we call it the Dark Ages? Truth had been suppressed, light had been suppressed. But it wasn't just truth as in Bible truth. Also any type of science or medicine, anything that seemed to challenge the Catholic Church's views of the world and our place in it and our place in the universe was attacked, and anyone who did that was persecuted. For example, the idea that the earth revolved around the sun instead of the sun revolving around the earth. Any type of change, whether it's political or scientific or any version of the sciences that would challenge the Catholic Church's perspective, really was really crushed out. So what happened in the Enlightenment is the Dark Ages began to wane because people start pushing forward really pushing through that obstacle. They no longer want the Catholic Church to prevent them from having light, not just on the Bible, but also on these other sciences. And it's out of that Enlightenment that you find the Illuminati. It's formed by a man who was a Jesuit. He was a Jesuit university, I think he was a lecturer of law at a university, and he realized that he was at a Jesuit university. He was a Jesuit, it was controlled by Jesuits, it was funded by Jesuits. Even though the Jesuits had been abolished, they still controlled this university, and any time he tried to teach something at that university that went against the Catholic Church, he would be silenced. Everyone that taught against the Catholic Church or in any science or law or fashion that was against the ideology or undermined the Catholic Church's version of what the earth should look like, what people should look like, they found themselves losing their jobs or demoted or somehow silenced, and he became very sick of that. So he really quit his Jesuit background, became an ex-Jesuit. They're calling it less. He left being a Jesuit behind, and he decided he was going to form an underground society that could spread information behind the back of the Catholic Church. So I'm not saying that everything the Illuminati did was necessarily good, but I want us to see the truth compared to the conspiracy theory, because the truth of its beginning is actually completely reasonable. These people were not Satanists. They were people who wanted to share illumination or enlightenment behind the back of the Catholic Church to prevent themselves from being silenced and losing their jobs, whether it was their jobs in teaching or the sciences or politics or whatever walk of life they found themselves in. So this became a secret society for that purpose. The Catholic Church fought back against that as it became more known. What he did was he infiltrated the Freemasons. He became a Freemason, and then he would go around the Freemasons and recruit from Freemasonry into his new society, the Illuminati. It only existed for about 10 years. The Illuminati has not existed since the 1780s. About 10 years later, it was banned. They found a list of everyone who had joined the Illuminati, all their records, and the society as an entirety was banned. Anyone who was part of the Illuminati was persecuted, and the entire society was shut down. It has not existed. There is not a shred of evidence that the Illuminati has existed since the 1780s. But the conspiracy theories that were linked to that have become so strong. What happened is it began in 1776. In 1779, you have the beginning of the French Revolution. And what Jedediah Morse will teach is that the Illuminati instigated the French Revolution. They were the cause of the French Revolution. There would be no French Revolution without the Illuminati. Why do we know the French Revolution happened? What was the cause of the French Revolution? Great Controversy 281.3. Great Controversy 281.3. Rome had misrepresented the character of God and perverted his requirements, and now men rejected both the Bible and its author. She had required a blind faith in her dogmas under the pretended sanction of the Scriptures. In the reaction, Voltaire and his associates cast aside God's word altogether and spread everywhere the poison of infidelity. Rome had ground down the people under her iron heel, and now the masses, degraded and brutalized, in their recoil from her tyranny, cast off all restraint. So what is a recoil? Recoil is when you stretch that rope as far as you'll go in one direction, in the direction of tyranny, and then when that rope releases, what happens? It's going to recoil, it's going to go far in the other direction. So as they find themselves degraded and brutalized by Rome over 1260 years, when they recoil from that tyranny, when they find their freedom, they cast off all restraint. Enraged at the glittering cheat to which they had so long paid homage, they rejected truth and falsehood together, and mistaking license for liberty, the slaves of vice exulted in their imagined freedom. So this is where you should be. They'd been taken by the Catholic Church for a long period into tyranny. When that rope is cut, they don't come back to a balanced position. They recoil. They go much beyond. They reject both truth and falsehood together. That was the cause of the French Revolution. You can go through all the writings of Ellen White. She will not once say that the Illuminati instigated the French Revolution. Why? Because they didn't. This is the introduction of conspiracy theories to justify the external events. Were the founding fathers the Illuminati-controlled puppets of the Antichrist? Will you find that in any writings of Ellen White? No. So why do we believe it? Why do conservative Seventh-day Adventists believe in the Illuminati? Now, conservative Seventh-day Adventists will say, we have Miller and our pioneers. Did Miller or the pioneers care about the Illuminati? No. What did they say about the founding fathers? This was a positive, wasn't it? What did they say about the French Revolution? The same thing Ellen White said. So why do we believe in it? We have the same problem the Jewish nation has had. We have formed an idea of God, of his character, and with that, it's broader than you might think. It's also how we see the external events and the workings of the Great Controversy. We have moulded that in the image, in the idolatry we have taken from Protestantism that we were meant to leave behind. Why do we have so many conspiracy theories? Why do we have people who won't vaccinate? Ellen White was vaccinated. Why do we have people who won't vaccinate? Because that's the position held to by Protestantism. Ellen White lived in the day of vaccinations. She never once said it was a wrong thing. She went and got vaccinated herself. The people holding to these positions are the same ones going back here and saying, we hold to the writings of our prophet. Just as the Pharisees said, we hold to the writings of Moses. But our prophet never speaks about the Illuminati. She never speaks about secret societies even in that context. I want to look at a couple of quotes where Ellen White speaks about secret societies.